okay, is going to be a French seam. Anybody has not done a French seam before? Okay. The purpose of a French seam is to have the raw edges encased inside the seam allowance on the garment. Most likely you would use a French seam on chiffon, something sheer. You don't want to have an overlock because then the quality of your work, it will cheapen it out, right? Because you have that ugly overlock. But this is a way of finishing it up. It makes your garments probably even reversible in some cases, okay? So for a French seam, when you guys sew something, how do you sew? Right sides together, right? The right face together. If we were to have a print, the face of the print will be together, correct? When you do a French seam, you actually do wrong sides together. So you're going to sew it backwards first, okay? So this is how you do it. Now, my seam allowance is 1/2 inch. So I'm going to stitch at half of my seam allowance. So I'm going to stitch at 1/4 of an inch. Because we stitch it twice, we're going to encase the seam allowance. So I'm going to stitch 1/4 of an inch. Always remember to take your pins out. See, I can control the speed with my foot. But if your chair is too low, you're not going to be able to control it. It's going to be cumbersome to your feet, to your legs, especially those of you that are tall. It will be really a problem. And those of you that are short too. Hello, that's me. So after I sewed it at 1/4 of an inch, see that I have 1/4 of an inch seam allowance here. I'm going to trim it in half. I want to go close to that seam, but not exactly on it. Okay? Remember, this was wrong sides together. So the right side is on the outside. So now I'm going to flip it. If you guys want to, you could press the seam allowances towards one side because it's going to make it easier for you to do this. And now I'm going to fold it exactly on the edge. Now remember, we had 1/4 of an inch and I trimmed it off. That's 1/8. Now I'm going to stitch it again at 1/4. So the raw edge, it will be inside that seam allowance. This will be the last stitch that we'll do this session, okay? I will explain what we need to have ready for the following set. So now I'm gonna stitch it at 1/4 of an inch again. Remember, the raw edge is on the inside. I was wondering who he was talking to. So now, this is the wrong side. The right side's together, correct? So when we open, we have a clean seam. But when you look at the wrong side, the raw edge is encased inside the seam allowance. This is called the French seam. Pretty? Okay. You can stop it if you want, and you guys can look at it.